With there being a lot of guns in the game, there's a lot to level up ahead of Warzone 3, and it can be quite overwhelming. Today, I'm going to be showing you the best and most efficient way of leveling up what items you need, what attachments you need, what weapons you're going to need ahead of Warzone 3, so you've got them all ahead of Warzone 3, so you don't have to worry about metas or anything along those lines. First of all, we're going to go through with the ARs, which is probably the most important category we need to be going through. Now, I've been playing a lot of this game, and I've leveled up on basically every single weapon besides the shotguns, and I can basically kind of gather which weapons that I personally think will be the meta, and a lot of people would also agree. First of all, we've got the Holger 556, which is essentially the G360 from Call of Duty 4. Now, I have made this the base weapon because I'm going to be talking about attachments later on in the video, but basically the Holger offers a very high fire rate and also high damage with little to no recoil, hence why I personally think it's going to be up there as a contender. Alongside that, we have the MCW, aka the ACR, the fan favorite weapon. This gun absolutely doesn't move. Worth mentioning that the MCW is actually right now the main weapon to use in a competitive scenario, i.e. 4v4 S&D matches, the CDL scrimming with this weapon, and a lot of websites where people are hosting S&D tournaments. This is what's being used the most. Now, it's also worth mentioning as well, as part of the ARs, there are two weapons that I want to give basically an honorable mention to, is the DG58 and the FR56. Now, these two weapons are both burst fire weapons. The reason why I'm putting that in there, we all remember the days in Black Ops Cold War where we had the AUG and the M16 meta and how much he was tearing up people when it first got integrated. Call of Duty always seemed to find it very difficult to tune burst fire weapons when they first get implemented into the game. This is why I've put them as part of the ARs and why I genuinely do think that these could actually be meta on day one. I honestly will be loading in with the DG58 on day one as the very first weapon I'll be loading into Kazakhstan. In multiplayer, it one bursts everybody. Now, if you equate that into a BR scenario with a 300 HP instead of 150, you could be two bursting people effectively, which I don't need to tell you how quick that time to kill is. Now, again, there's 4 ARs here that I've picked from. In regards to the attachments, they're very, 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 very... basically, you get them all through just leveling up the weapons from the very start. There are a few attachments that I will say that everybody needs to level up for basically majority of the weapons, but we'll talk about that at the very end of the video. Now, moving on to the battle rifles, this is a category I don't really like talking about very much, but it's also a category that I can't really ignore. Now, we've all seen the TAC V meta, and we had the 3 months of the Cronin Skull meta. I could hopefully say it's finally in the dirt, but I do think there is a chance for the BAS-P to take over that. Not for this fully auto, but it's for a single tap. If you tried leveling up this weapon is an absolute monster. Genuinely an absolute monster in multiplayer. High fire rate, single tap is dead easy to tap away, and honestly, this thing will blow people away in Warzone. I'm genuinely quite scared to see what it's going to be like because I really don't want to know a battle rifle meta, but I can't ignore it. I can't sit here and ignore it and tell you guys not to level up the BAS-P because it'd be very stupid of me. Now, moving on to the snipers, the CAT AMR is the beast of a sniper. There's only 3 to use from. I would actually say the longbow and the KV inhibitor are both semi-automatic. Yes, this is bolt action, but it isn't powerful enough for a Warzone scenario. Great for multiplayer, not very good for Warzone. KV inhibitor might have a place, but right now the CAT AMR is one that I can't deny. If you've watched my COD Next gameplay, you'll know that I was absolutely tearing people up in the main stage at COD Next with this weapon, and you cannot not level this up. If you're a sniper, level this weapon right now. Yes, it's worth mentioning, MCPR will be useful. Signal 50, Victus, the Intervention, aka the Imperium, will also be usable. But we want to be using a new weapons, we want to be using a new stuff. Honestly, it's like having a bolt action Beretta 50 cal. It is an absolute beast. Level this up now. Now, moving on to the SMGs, this is a really odd category because I want to sit here and say that all these weapons are going to be usable, but they're all playing on a very, very similar playing field. There is one sub that I am standing out right now, and it's the Wasp Spawn. And you're probably thinking I'm a bit deluded right now, but the Striker, the AMR9, the Wasp, and the Striker 9 all have very similar time to kills. And they're all very, very heavy submachine guns. What does that mean is that if you're running an AR or using a sniper as your main hand, you're not going to be able to kind of switch out to another weapon to kind of like speed it up. The Wasp, Rival 9, like I said, Striker AMR 9, and the Striker 9 as well, are quite heavy, which means that maneuvering about the map for all those movement demons, like myself, it's going to be quite difficult. The Wasp Swarm is very light. It's got a fast time to kill. The only issue is that it's got a very, very, very fast fire rate, which means that you're going to be running out of the magazine size quite quickly, but we counteract that with a bigger magazine. Again, it's a weapon that I would highly recommend for everybody to level up. What I want to say, though, about this is that I do think the ISO 9mm and the Lockman sub over here will still have a place in a Warzone scenario. But like I said again, we all want to be using the mono infantry weapons. We want to be using the new stuff because, again, we've all spent a lot of money on this game. So rank up the Wasp Spawn, but I'd also rank up all the other subs just in case they do any last-minute tunings to the submachine category. Finally, we're on to the LMGs. Now, if you guys watch my streams, you know that I am a very big hater on LMGs. I hate them. I can't stand them. But there is also two submachine guns that I cannot deny. The Bruin, which we've already had a Bruin meta before, and the Holger 26. It's a more heavy version of the other Holger 556. Both very, very good weapons. And I just genuinely think that there is a place for these two guns to be in the meta. They are fast fire rate, not too heavy. They feel like an AR, but they have the damage of an LMG. Again, level them up, because if those ARs and battle rifles aren't meta, these will definitely be taking that spot straight away. Now, in regards to the attachments, we have got something a bit different here. I've listed all the best attachments on screen right now, and we're going to walk and talk through them all and why I think that what's the best. Fire suppressor is the most important thing right now for anybody to level it up. It's a silencer that offers recoil control, bullet velocity, and damage range, and the most important bit is undetectable by radar. Last year we used a lot of compensator muzzles and just recoil muzzles in general, because that none of our red dots showed up on the minimap. This year they've added red dots back on the minimap, which means that you're going to be showing up on the minimap again, which means that if you're not using the silencer on your main weapon, you're going to be a dead giveaway. You're going to get pushed out a lot, and you're going to get singled out a lot. Especially in those customs, especially in those rank play games, you want to use a silencer, otherwise you're going to be putting yourself at a massive disadvantage. You'll be using this on sniper rifles, LMGs, submachine guns, ARs, battle rifles, absolutely everything. Get this suppressor leveled up right now. Moving on to the underbarrel, I do think there are two underbarrels right now that are going to be taking rain. We do have an honorable mention for the Commando foregrip back in the previous Call of Duty, and also the Merc foregrip for the submachine guns. But we've got the F-Tac MSP 98 hand stop and the XRK Edge BW hand stop. This one is for the subs, and this one will be for the AR. AR, vertical recoil, movement speed, gun kit control, aim walking speed, again, that little stalker movement. And then you've got the Edge, which is really good for the aimed outside speed, and the spit to fire speed for the submachine guns. Again, two very important secondary underbarrels that you both need to level up, because you're going to be using them on basically every single gun, kind of like the the Merc foregrip and kind of like the Commando foregrip from the previous Call of Duty. You're going to be using these two a lot on all your weapons. Moving on to the ammunition type, we have the NATO high grain pounds. Now, hollow point, again, for the submachine guns. I personally have a really big feeling that they're going to be nerfing hollow point, because it's a very hot topic right now in Call of Duty. Whereas if you use hollow point, you're kind of cheesing so much out of a death. A submachine gun using hollow point is really broken right now. So make sure you get those hollow point rounds sorted straight away. But also get those high NATO rounds as well, because that is basically like your bullet velocity magazine. You know, your bullet velocity round, you know, your high velocity rounds. That is what you're going to need on an AR for those ARs that are lacking in velocity. And then a hollow point for the submachine gun rounds, because again, you're going to need that extra edge over your opponents at close range, because as you always do, you're going to need that. Magazines are always very important. Now, I've just got the 40 round here, but every single gun has a different style of magazine. So the guns that I personally mentioned, make sure you level those guns up, because the magazine will be fit for that gun. Now, moving lastly on to the sights. We spent a year of using one-time sights like the ZM Mini, the Chrono Mini Dart. These are the sights that we've been using the past year. But The 𝗖cie𝗱𝗲's back, baby, and it's usable. And the best bit about the sight is a 3.4 times. The best bit about it, there is next to no recoil. There is next to no recoil. So we got those Warzone 1 days where we had the 3 times scope. We're back to those high zooms. I think we're back to those high zooms again, where we are kind of running these scopes for the long distance. Now, what I would say about our 𝗲𝗙𝗙, a lot of the guns had a lot of high recoil, which meant that, you know, you had to have like a short range optic because you need to have that close range advantage. Whereas in Kazakhstan, we all kind of know it's very similar to Verdansk. For the people that have played it, we all thought it's similar to Verdansk. But most importantly, you need those long-range open gunfights where you'll be able to map people across the map. And the 𝗖cie𝗱𝗲's going to be the one that's going to give you that advantage. Now, the 𝗖cie𝗱𝗲 is obviously, we got that from Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, but there are a lot more options in the menus here. Just to scroll past, there are some, these ones I haven't unlocked yet. If we scroll back through, we've got all the thermal ones, but most importantly, we've got the hybrid, which is a 5.5 times, which could be usable. We've got the 𝗖cie𝗱𝗲 night view, which would be very good for those sniper rifles. We've got the bullseye optic, which is a 6 times. I don't know if that's going to be usable, but it might be worth grabbing anyway. And we're scrolling back through. These are the ones where I think we're going to get a little bit mixy with, like a 2.5 times. Now, this is the eagle eye scope. I do personally think this might have a place because, again, no recoil. Now, we are losing, like, almost like a 1 times on it. But if we subtract that, the 1 times, we have a lot less recoil. So, I do think, personally, there's a lot of room for sights, if you have to ask me. Again, if we scroll back to the very start, one of my favorite 1-time scope is from Vanguard. They have added it into here. Shout out 𝗖cie𝗱𝗲𝗲 for adding the slate reflector. You guys might recognize this sight. This has no recoil on the gun. Now, again, it depends on the scenario and your team composition and what you build it around. This will also have a spot in the BR. Maybe in the Resurgence, maybe not the big map, but we'll see. Like I said, make sure you get the 𝗖cie𝗱𝗲𝗲 from Modern Warfare 2. Make sure you get those 2.5 times scopes because those are the ones that are going to ultimately give you the edge over everything else. But ultimately, that is kind of all we needed to go through. Worth mentioning, the perks are the old perks, so you don't need to unlock any new perks. The lethals and all the stuns and your secondaries and smokes are all going to be carrying over. But the one last thing I do want to talk about is the stim. Stim movement speed is back in the BR scenario. It is very, very, very important that you make sure you get the stim unlocked. Because there's going to be a choice this year. It's not just going to be smokes. There's going to be smokes, stuns, and stims. Me personally, I want to be flying about the map. You're going to see me slide cancelled everywhere with the stims, getting in people's business, getting out of people's business with the stims. The movement speed bonus is back. You have no reason to kind of not use these right now because they are absolutely broken in the BR element. So make sure you unlock these. But that is it for today's video. Again, it's a short but sweet one. I wanted to kind of give you guys some preparation work ahead of the new Warzone. We've got a little over 2 weeks left from the moment I've recorded this video to get leveling up these weapons, get leveling up these attachments, get leveling up all these little things, and get ready for Kazakhstan's new job. I appreciate all the love and support of the videos that I've been shown recently and on the live streams over at Twitch. If you guys don't know, I do stream daily on Twitch, so make sure you go drop a follow over on the Twitch side of things. If you guys have any more questions, or if you guys want me to make any videos on anything else, please leave it in the comment section down below. But until next time, see you all soon. Peace!